Hey guys, John V here from Phone Reno. Right now you're watching our in-depth video review of the Microsoft Surface 2 tablet. So the Surface RT last year was a new venture for Microsoft. It catapulted them into the tablet space, but didn't quite make a big splash as they anticipated. So with this year's model, it sees some significant upgrades in terms of the hardware and also gets treated to also an updated Windows RT 8.1 experience. So we're going to see how it all translates in the end and whether or not it could be a good option for you this upcoming holiday season. So the design of the Surface 2 remains the same from its predecessor. Nothing a whole lot different with it. It still has a very modern looking design. Nice looking slate. With this year's model, it's available in two specific colors, the same slate black as before, and this time we have a silver finish, which really gives a nice look. It employs the same choice of materials, which is that magnesium vapor bag composite casing, which gives it a lot of sturdiness. And at the same time, it's really known for its heavy use of these angled cutouts around the sides, giving it a very modern look. Now, as much as we appreciate those angle cutouts, they give it a very modern design. When it comes to the in-the-hand feel, it still feels a little bit sharp to hold, so not the most comfortable thing. And it's also worth noting that the Surface 2 is both thinner and lighter than its predecessor, but quite frankly, it's not something we really notice that much. There aren't that many tablets that feature kickstands, so we're happy again to see that the Surface 2 packs along a useful one here. Now, last year's model, same thing as this one here. You have a single angle here, which is great for level surfaces, but with this year's model, there's a second angle here, wider, which is great for when you're using it in your lap. So if you want to type with one of the optional keyboards, it's something that's ideal. Now, this is something we're happy to find with the Surface 2. It features a higher resolution screen than its predecessor. It's still the same 10.6-inch size screen, 1080p resolution though, so that's 1920 by 1080 pixels, and it's an IPS LCD based panel. See that we have now a higher resolution screen on board with the Surface 2. We're happy to say that this time details are super sharp, and we're very happy to see that. Now, seeing that it also utilizes Microsoft's own ClearType technology, fine text in pretty much all aspects of the platform, very easy in the eyes to see. There's just a lot of sharpness and clarity with it. The entire package with the screen is just wonderful. There's lots to like about it. And in addition to the higher resolution, we have some very punchy looking colors. It gives it a nice vibrant look with some wide view angles. Brightness and contrast are all equally stellar, so when it comes to outdoor visibility, we have no issues viewing it whatsoever. Just like last time, there's a capacitor start button below the display, so when you press that, it jumps you back to the start screen. Just like last time, we have all the same ports and buttons around its trim. So on the left side, we have the volume control right here. You have 3.5mm headset jack, one of the speakers there with two speakers left and right. On the top edge, pretty much clean except for the top right corner here. You have the dedicated power button. It's raised. It has a great tactile response when you press it down. On the right edge, you have some additional ports. You have the other speaker right there. You have a micro HDMI out port, a full-size USB 3.0 port. You have the magnetic power dock connection port right there. And on the bottom here, you have the magnetic docking port, which allows us to actually connect either of the new touch keyboards to it. And in the back, behind the kickstand here, kind of hard to make it out, but you actually have a micro SD card slot right there. We're grateful that the display got an increase with its resolution. At the same time, we're happy to see that the cameras also received some love here with the Surface 2. Now, instead of the 0.9 megapixel paltry cameras that were on the Surface last year, the new Surface 2 features a higher resolution 5 megapixel rear camera, whereas the front-facing one is also higher at 3.5 megapixels. Now, what we have here with the Surface 2 is the updated Microsoft Windows RT 8.1 experience. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail about it. For the most part, it has the same enhancements found with the also Windows 8 experience that we checked out in the Microsoft Surface Pro 2. But the biggest differentiator is with this, you don't have support for legacy software. So when you go to desktop mode, if you're used to running older software, it's not going to be compatible with this. Here's some of the stuff that we like with the updated Windows RT 8.1 experience. For starters, the start screen for the most part looks the same, but there's a little bit more customization this time around. They have different sizes for the dynamic live tiles, so you could choose from a number of them. There's 4 different ones: small, medium, large, and wide. So it's a little bit more customization for you, and you have also better organization. We have the same multitasking implementation as before, so basically we run two applications side by side, but with Windows RT 8.1, they offer better snapping between two apps. So basically, if you have one, if you have two, you could actually resize the window here to your liking. And the nice thing about it, it automatically will resize depending on what it is. And finally, we have some additional core organizer apps that are preloaded with the tablet this time around, just because last year we had to download the majority of them. So now this time we have things like an alarm application, we have a calculator, you have your calendar, of course, your People's Hub, and they also have some secondary core organizer apps such as this food and drink one here that you could check out, and even a health and fitness one as well. That's kind of weird why they have even the Windows RT platform different from the Windows 8 experience. And with the Surface 2, we really appreciate all the enhancements made with the updated Windows RT 8.1 experience. But when it comes down to it, the biggest differentiator is, again, just that you're not going to get support for legacy software. We do appreciate that the Surface 2 comes preloaded with some of the usual staple of Microsoft Office applications like Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. So it's great for that. But for other productivity stuff, you're not going to be able to do it just because you don't have support for legacy software. It's one of the few devices to be powered by it, but the Surface 2 is running the latest NVIDIA Tegra 4 processor. It's a quad-core running at 1.7 gigahertz coupled with 2 gigabytes of RAM, and honestly, the performance, just like last time around, is just what we expect. Nice and fast, swift, no issues whatsoever, very few instances of any lag or slowdown, so it goes to show that you don't really need the most demanding processors to have a great experience. With such a powerful processor, it makes for a great web browsing experience. Here you have the Internet Explorer, which is fantastic just because it loads up complex web pages, no problems whatsoever. And of course, the performance is expected. It's fast, it's swift, page rendering is instant, and you can see some of the navigational controls very fluid as well. Of course, you could pick up either the updated Touch or Type 2 keyboards for a more ideal typing experience, but if you're going to have to rely on the on-screen one, the best bet's probably going to be the landscape option, just because it's the most spacious, it feels pretty natural, it's super responsive, and has a pretty good autocorrect feature. As an alternative, you could use the split keyboard too, which works pretty good. It's very useful with the portrait option. And lastly, you have also this handwriting recognition one. It's on there, but it's not really the most practical thing. With the updated Windows RT 8.1 experience, we also see some visual updates made to the music player here. Now it's Xbox Music. It still has a nice dynamic look when you're playing a song. And as far as the audio quality with its two speakers, it's strong. Not the strongest thing we've heard, but it's still more than ample. It doesn't seem to strain the loudest volume setting, and it just makes for a pleasant experience. Its Tegra 4 chip really shows its worth in the video watching experience just because it's more than adequate to play high definition videos. Now, we have here the Xbox Video Hub. It's the central place where you can purchase or rent content if you want, and also view stuff that's locally stored to it. When it comes to the performance, of course, with the updated display, the high resolution screen, it just makes for a swell experience just because there's a lot of clarity, detail, and pungent colors to really liven up the experience. There's a whole lot new with the camera app here with the Surface 2 and the updated Windows RT 8.1 experience. Now, it does offer some new shooting modes here. You have this panoramic view, which gives you a 360-degree look. You have also the ability to adjust the exposure if you want, and you could also do a spot adjustment and also a timer. But that's pretty much it when it comes to shooting modes and manual controls. So we truly appreciate that Microsoft has been kind enough to arm the Surface 2 with a larger 5-megapixel rear camera. So in terms of quality, a lot better than its predecessor, just more details, of course. Color still tends to be a little bit on the bland side, and when it comes to lower lighting situations, there's just a lot of noise that comes in, but still a lot better looking than last year's model. But thing is that it lacks autofocus, so when it comes to close-ups or macro shots, you could pretty much forget about it. It just comes off rather blurry or out of focus. With that updated rear camera, it has the ability to shoot 1080p videos, and we gotta say the results are significantly improved compared to last year's model, but not quite a home run compared to some other tablets out there. It's nice that it records very smoothly. There's a lot more details this time around, but still kind of struggles with things like dynamic range, even lower lighting conditions where there tends to be a lot more noise. And as we're panning very quickly, we do notice some artifacting elements that pop up, and in lower lighting conditions, we see a drop in its frame rate. Battery life is also improved here with the Surface 2. We gotta say that we're pretty impressed as a whole. Now, if this is gonna be more of a secondary device than anything, something you're gonna be using on occasion, whereas your smartphone is gonna be your daily driver, you're gonna get close to 2.5 days of battery life out of the Surface 2. But if it's gonna be your daily driver, if you're a power user, you're gonna use it day in, day out, you're gonna get at least 12 hours of battery life out of it. It's really tough trying to think about where does the Surface 2 fit in all of this, because we know it's a tablet, but it's a Windows RT 8.1 tablet. And in the course of the last year, we've seen several different Windows-based tablets, some running the full Windows 8 experience with Intel Atom chips. And those tablets seem to be a little bit more versatile in this just because you get the full-blown Windows 8 experience. It's great that the Surface 2 now starts at $450, which is $50 less than the base model from last year. And with that, you're going to save the money, but in the long run, when we think about all those other Windows 8 tablets running Intel Atom processors, they offer a little bit more value just because you get the full Windows 8 experience. This is great as a tablet by itself, but not really worth the money compared to some of the other options out there for you. So if you guys want to learn more about the Microsoft Surface 2 tablet, you can check out our website, PhoneArena.com. Sean V, thanks for watching.